Hello, hello. Hang on just a second. There we go. Needed a little light. Happy Tuesday, October 28th. Let's see what's going on. Yeah, it froze on me. All right. Let's see. All right. So today's Tuesday. Yeah, I don't know why it should be. It should be back. Um, there we go. Hello, Olive Octopus, Omaha. How you doing? Getting ready for it's a busy day today. Holy smokes. It's a day. It's my day before my last day here, before the show, and so of course my to-do list is, as I think of things, is getting long, and I'm debating whether or not tomorrow there will be a stream just based on the number of things that have to happen. We'll try to squeeze it in, but Slumberland Studio, hello, hello. Hans, thank you for the subscription with Prime, which is a good point to bring up. If y'all have, thank you so much. If you have a subscription to Prime, you are gifted a Twitch subscription per month. So you can support your favorite Twitcher, as it were. And it costs you nothing. So I do appreciate that. Let's see. What do we got over here? Litterish. Hey, what's going on? Your name is Dallas. Pen fan. Mostly modern pens bought from independent retailers. We're glad to have found here. Yes, thank you. Cross one item off, add two to the list. Yeah, and I try not to do like the simple things like, two shirts, two sweaters, that stuff, because that's different. I try and like think of the important things that I always forget or that I'm likely to forget, like my AirPods, because I want to listen to the podcast on Friday, or I might want to listen to something in the room. My computer glasses, so I can actually see what's going on instead of having to, suffer, and things like that. And then I've added a stop on the way on Thursday, and I've got some things that I'm selling, so I've got to remember to get like all that stuff in one spot. But I don't want to put it in the car until tomorrow, so I'm just. And then what I've neglected to do thus far is really put any thought whatsoever into what I want to accomplish at the show. What parts I'm looking for, pens, if any. And most of the time I try to look for parts to finish pens that I have, but it usually doesn't work. It becomes frustrating because the list is lengthy, and I have to remember, oh, well, do I need because whenever I think, let's say I'm looking for Parker 45 parts, and I have to, I remember, well, I need a teal barrel. I need a black hood. But then I see something else at the show, and I'm like, well, do I have that? I don't remember. What area all you in? Shows being mentioned. Yeah, so I'm in Appleton, Wisconsin, or thereabouts, Kaukauna right now, actually. And the pen show is in Ohio this weekend. It starts on Thursday. Columbus, Ohio show. So it's the last big show of the year, and it's my favorite show, and Lisa gives me grief over that, but it truly is. It's a great show, and I think I think after a long show season, I think everybody understands that. They understand that vibe. Um, that we all let a little bit looser than normal, and it's a good show, and um, so have to add it's difficult finding unique Esterbrook nibs. Yeah, it sure is. Um, it's yeah, it's a challenge. You're better off finding them in pens than separately. I mean, it's way cheaper that way, if anything. Good afternoon. Hopefully you can chat now. I'm not sure what Twitch is doing. I hope you all have. Yeah, I don't know either. I tried to run my ads, my first 3 minutes of ads for the hour, like in the starting soon, and now it looks like it's gonna throw some more at you. I apologize for that. Or apparently not. There we go. It finally kicked in. How was Cardinal Pens doing? Well, very well. It's a little frustrating this week because I'm kind of saving all my profits to be able to go to the show, so I can't reorder like I normally would. But I it's all for the best. But we're doing okay. We're building up slowly. We don't have. I mean, we used to have 7 to 10,000 SKUs. I don't have that. Now there was a lot of those that I would never ever buy again, which is great. And I in fact I was going to try to get another Lamy order in today, and I didn't get it in before 2 o'clock. But it's coming along. It's really nice. I own all my inventory, which wasn't the case before. And it's slow, but it's steady, and I think it's gonna turn out the way it needs to turn out, and I'm okay with that. So, so far so good, and we've got a plan in place. I've got a couple hundred vintage pens I don't even have up on the website yet. We've been that busy that we can't get them up, which is both a blessing and a curse, because that's a lot of money that's kind of sitting on the shelf. But that means we're busy doing other things. And I don't want to hire anybody for a long time. My next employee is going to be my daughter, more full time than she is, and then Lisa. So, yeah. So it's going well. Repairs are keeping me busy, so I do appreciate all the folks that are sending in the repairs, and we're getting them done in a nice, timely fashion. I think people like to watch them be repaired. Probably not like watching me yammer on, but there it is. And with the pens that are coming in for consignment is good. I've got a new batch in that's going to make it up on the site within the next 2 days before I leave. You like watching both? Yeah. So we've got a lot of consignment stuff that's coming in. We've got vintage pens that are coming in over the counter now. We've got some customers that are showing up here at the warehouse. Roughly one a week, which is great. I'm okay with that. It doesn't have to be what it was. So yeah, it's good. It's all good. Mostly I like having this committed 3 hours of repair time and pen chat with y'all to get stuff done. And just when I was just when I thought I was running low on pens, more pens came. So we're good. Do Eric and I still get together? We haven't spoken since August. We haven't gotten. He didn't show up at the Pelican Hub, so he wasn't there. And he doesn't bike as much as he used to. So even though I've offered to, against my better judgment, go biking early in the morning, he hasn't taken me up on the offer yet. So Hopefully someday. It's getting colder now, so I doubt that's going to happen till spring. But he'll come up. We did invite him over for Christmas, and he was going to come, but then he didn't show up. I think he said he was going to. I don't remember. He's always welcome over in our house. Okay, was all sorts of stuff going on in YouTube here. I can't even keep track of that. All right. Well, anyway, let's take a look at what we got on the bench today. And what we do today determines what and if we do anything tomorrow. Get my stuff here. All right. So I'll get my coffee cup out of the way. So this was from yesterday. We had a couple of vacuumatics. The Inkograph, which I think is still soaking. And we should be able to drill these out today. I think that's what we're going to do. Let's take a look at this section here first. I would like to get these 90% done. You could try to distract me so you get nothing done and have to stream tomorrow. You realize that would not be very difficult at all, right? It's not that easy to distract me. Oops. All right, let's see. I'm not too bad. I'm just kind of starting to feel the little crunch, and you know, and I've been getting this. There we go. I think it's coming here. I've been getting this utility bill from my old house, and so it came again, and I'm like, okay, well, I need to take care of this. I haven't lived in this house in 10 months, 11 months. So it says you can pay it online. So I go to pay it online, and the city of Appleton has this, I think, rather archaic payment portal, but it requires, not only do you know your account number, but your customer number. There's two different things. And so on this bill is my account number, but not my customer number. And it says your customer number is listed on your quarterly water bill. Well, I don't get a quarterly water bill anymore because I don't live there anymore. And so I call them up, and of course they're smack downtown, which, you know, Appleton's not huge if you've been here, but parking is still a problem. So, oh, well, we can't give that to you for security reasons. We can't give you your customer number over the phone. I said, even if I have my account number, you can't give me my customer number. No. You can't take my payment over the phone? No. They make it the most difficult thing in the world to pay this bill. Why do I have to pay for a utility bill in a house that's not yours? Apparently, it was like the last bill, and they sent it like in December. And we moved out, like, I forget what the date was, December 15th or something. They sent it after. So it finally did make it to me. And then, quite honestly, since I didn't have a job, and Lisa was paying all the bills, I thought she had paid the bill. Well, apparently not. And so it didn't get paid. You know, and fine, I'll pay it. Oh, wow, this is not coming open. But don't make it so hard to pay this thing. It's just ridiculous. I hate it. So now I got to go downtown to pay this bill. Yeah, I can go in person. Well, so that's the thing. So they sent me this letter. It came end of last week. And if I don't pay it by November 4th, they're going to tack on another $22 in late fees. So I could issue a check from my bank, but it's not likely to get there in time, and then the whole process starts all over again. I can mail a check, but number one, I actually don't think I have checks at my new bank account. And I also can't be guaranteed they're going to get it and process it in time. So yeah, I have to go in person, which ends up having to be in the city center plaza where we used to have our first store. So I have to go there, and so that's like not my favorite memory of walking into that building because we got screwed on that deal. Really, really screwed. But it's kind of on the other side, but I still have to go. But the only saving grace is that means I'm going to be like a block away from the best scones in the city. And so I have to stop. Oh, this doesn't want to come on. I have to stop and take that opportunity. Okay, so the weight is moving. That's I do see it. So this is, let's see what we're looking at here. This is going to be a pain in the butt. I think I'm going to drop this into Dr. G's, I think. This is the back end of the weight right here, which comes out this tube. And I don't know if you can see it. It's just sticking out a little bit. So there's still some something mucking up the works there. Heat doesn't seem to want to do it. So you're lucky that the city there goes out of your way to be helpful. I don't know. I think they're making it as difficult as possible. Here in Appleton. That and the fact that I'm still getting billed. Are you ready for this? I'm still getting billed for water. I think it's water, which I never paid for. I was never responsible for in the first place. At the last store I was at, I'm still getting paid. I'm still getting bills for that after I left. It's ridiculous. We keep, and this has happened a couple times. We're like, that company doesn't exist anymore. We haven't been there since January. We couldn't have possibly accrued any water bill whatsoever because nobody's been there. Well, we're going to let this soak and we'll see what we can get out of it. That's another one I got to add to my list. Is consult on the Dr. G's. I'm just gonna put it on this list because I don't have my list with me. So yeah, I got running around to do tomorrow. Hopefully I can get it done. Plenty of time to spare. You know, last minute gas up the car. Stop at the bank. So I am looking forward to a smooth transition tomorrow. All right. Turn up my light here so I can see a little better. Oh, I see a little bit of, there's some ink coming out of there. That's good. All right, where is, oh, there it is. What's up? When you work with vintage pens and they're all gunked up with ancient ink, is it best to just soak it in still water, or do you ever use ultrasonic? Yeah, I use ultrasonic all the time. You can't see it; it's not on the screen, but I couldn't do this. I couldn't do pen repair without ultrasonic. All right, that came out nice. Is there any pen part you wouldn't put in an ultrasonic? Yeah, I mean, there's plenty. Most notably, any part any celluloid part where you can visibly see crazing starting to happen, particularly if there are hairline cracks starting to happen, like in caps, early Esterbrook $1.50 pens, Wall Eversharps, Waterman 100-year pens, anything where you start to see that transparency. Absolutely, yeah. No case in pens. You'll do that once. You will make that mistake once, and you will never do it again. Hard rubber, it pretty much limited to sections. I mean, older pens, I guess we got to define what older is, right? I mean, these are all old, so. I don't like to put certain caps. I won't put in the. I don't like to put in the ultrasonic. But now that I have my my salad spinner, thank you, Hans. I can spin them out and get the moisture out. Whereas before you would just have to hope that it all the moisture got out. Now I can spin it out, so that's okay. Like snorkel and touchdown caps. Oh, salad spinner, yeah. It's a regular. It's a regular on this show. It makes an appearance every day. Well, these two pellets were very spongy. The Co-Star, yeah. A quiet Co-Star. Okay. I don't know how I survived with one either. I mean, you know, honestly, I probably was never, I wasn't repairing this many pens this consistently. I would go through spurts at the old store where I would, I'd repair 10 or 12 pens over the course of a week. And maybe the next week I do 5 or 6, and then I would take 2-3 weeks off. And I've been really pretty consistent. I mean, about the only time I haven't streamed is I've taken the occasional mental health day, and when I hurt my back earlier in the year, and I literally just could not. I mean, I couldn't get off the couch one day. But yeah, I didn't. Look, we're getting some ink out of there. And keep in mind, this pen has been soaking in the ultrasonic for a solid 24 hours. So, all right, put those away. But yeah, I mean, I used to just because there was no sense of urgency. You know, if I had 12 pens on my desk, I could afford to let them sit and dry. I didn't have to. You know, I mean, now if I want to repair pens tomorrow, these got to be cleaned up and they got to be gone. They cannot sit around. Boy, what did they have been super helpful. I had it at the store. Holy cow! You know, for all our tester pens, and somebody tries a pen, and then we go to clean it out before they purchase it. Spicy, hello, how are you doing? Well, this thing is still inky. I'm gonna drop that back in there. Good barrel transparency on that blue one. Huh? Oh, I'll just clean these guys up. Cleaning pens is the thing you hate the most about the hobby. Yeah, kind of necessary though. Sometimes you get lucky and you just need to refill your pen with if it's the same ink, just a simple act of filling and flushing it will eliminate a lot of problems. You're an artist and for decades you used rapidographics with India ink. I was wearing down jewel nibs, so I switched over to fountain pens in 2015. Never wore a nib down yet. Yeah. Yeah, I hate it when people make that claim that fountain pen's going to wear to the user's style. It's total nonsensical. I mean, if that were the case, we would be wearing through nibs every week. Yeah, you gotta make the salad spinner. You should clean out all your pens with this difficult, maybe after 20 or 30 years. Probably the more difficult thing would be to make sure all your pens are restored. I remember one time a long time ago, probably 20 years ago, I remember calculating what it would cost me to restore every single one of my Esterbrookes. And then I realized that was just nonsense, considering I wasn't going to use 95% of them. You know, and that's back when sacks were $2 a piece. Lamy and Pelican are easy to clean since you can deassemble with ease. Have Esterbrookes I have not restored? I hate to admit this. I couldn't tell you the last time I used an Esterbrook outside of here, right? Yeah, I mean when you're collecting, imagine the cost of restoring all your snorkels. That's not a fun thought. You should do it though. Yeah, you know, when you got 6 colors, 3 sizes, 2 different lever variations. I mean, that's 36 possible pens over a 7-year period in history. Oh, I got to get another sack. I'll be right back. So if you're just trying to collect a set of pens to match, you know, get all the colors, because you got to remember, I much like Hans am really the true definition of a collector. I don't plan on using most. I mean, the fact that I've got an oversized balance in my pocket, I can't tell you the last time that happened. Yeah. Oh man, if you restore all your snorkels, that would just be such a painful process. For something that quite frankly is just not necessary, right? You know, if you're not going to use it, why risk the damage? If you're not going to use it. You might put a pen together to use that stub nib. You found this. That is ridiculous. And I couldn't see it because when you sent the image, I was actually riding my bike. And I was kind of like, you know. And then I looked at it later, and then it's ridiculous. I mean, if anybody's going to find a stub nib, I'm so happy it was you. I've never had I think if I had a stub nib, I would probably, I have just a snorkel to put it on. Is there a risk, though, that restoration supplies could become extinct? Not really. I wouldn't say so. Part of my, you probably build a vermilion out of your parts store for it. Red and stub nibs are a good combo, yeah. Part of my commitment to the hobby is making sure that certain things are just never going to run out. I just made, well, I thought this before, but I just made what should be for me anyway, a lifetime commitment and purchase of PFM point holder gaskets. They're reproductions of the originals. Nobody else makes them. Nobody else makes them like I make them. And I should never run out. My daughter, when she takes over the company in 15, 20 years, she won't run out. There's that many of them. You love that I encourage people to go vintage. It's good for environment since you buy less new stuff and basically recycle and less waste. Yeah, I mean, there is that. I think that the history part of it, I think is for me is what drives me. It's more interesting. You know, I've got a 90-year-old pen in my pocket, and it's a really phenomenal writer. I'll be 90 and using a walker, but I'll still be repairing pens. I don't know. I hope I'm not using a walker. Ah, come on. You have a hard time with vintage fountain pens because more often than not, they just aren't as sturdy as modern. I mean, I got to go there. So how are you treating your pens? I mean, you know, a vacumatic, this material is solid. 51s, I mean, yeah, there's a few pens that we have to worry about. Um, but I mean, we're talking something, some of this stuff is 100 years old. Yeah, Esterbrook CAs. Um, there are a ton of vintage pens that are as sturdy or more. I mean, look at um, just in the last week, there was a conversation on one of the forums about all the people who own Benus that had dropped them on the ground and they shattered. If you're one of the unfortunate few who got one of the very first generation Esterbrook Esty with a little bit thinner wall thickness, I mean, I dropped on a carpet and it broke. They've since fixed that problem, but you worry more about carrying them. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, I get it. You should be more cautious. Because I mean, parts are harder and harder to get. But Hans is right. Vintage pen nibs and feeds don't fall out or disintegrate like Yovo housing and feeds do. But we're also not taking them out every day, right? I mean, what is the generally accepted practice for any pen with a Yovo nib when you clean it is to unscrew the nib. Take it out, clean it out. So, yeah. So, do you have any thoughts on vintage pens that still carry on to the modern age? I suppose that I mean by that would be the vanishing point. How do you feel it evolved? The modern vanishing point is by far superior to the vintage one, and maybe a good point of conversation here, but the faceted vanishing points, especially particularly the ones in plastic, easy to cross thread, crack barrels. Um, nib units that are that's better. I think the modern one has really evolved to be a better product. I don't necessarily like the styling of the modern vanishing point as much as I do say the faceted vanishing point or the older vanishing point with that more. I mean, the clip is integrated into the whole front end of the pen. Now it looks like, it looks like they redesigned it and they got to the final production. They said, you know what we forgot to put on is we forgot to put a clip on this pen, and then they shoved it on the end. So, but best vanishing point they ever made was from the 70s with the round metal barrel. Yeah. If it's got a metal barrel, yeah, absolutely, and it's got that integrated clip. Yeah, that would win my vote. But the plastic ones, I mean, they're nice, except you have to be a little more, deliberate with when you open them up and taking them apart. Full plastic liner inside to keep it airtight. Yeah, I mean, I know Ron Zorn does a metal thread insert that he can put on a vintage plastic vanishing point, but I mean, it's great, but it's going to come at a Ron Zorn price, which is well worth it. But why are we doing that? You know what I mean? I mean, it's $100 repair. Yeah, it's a lot of money. It better be your most favorite vanishing point of all time. Yeah, a good price for a difficult repair. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying it's a lot of money. Um, I mean, all repairs these days are they're not cheap anymore. Believe it or not, I think I've stripped my collet. Yeah, there's a thread in there that's not quite right. Adrianus, hello. Yeah, you charge $75 to fix the click on a facet vanishing point, and it can't always be fixed. If you buy from a trusted source with a guarantee or return policy, it would be a good vintage pen experience. Yeah, I mean, the problem I think is for a lot of people is knowing who's a. I mean, I think until you've been in the hobby long enough, and what long enough um, is you know is a question. But until you've been in it long enough, it's hard to know who the trusted people are. You know, and there's seemingly new people every with some regularity. I can't believe this. Hmm. My collet is stripped. Hmm. Now I can't get it. Well, that's going to make repairing vacuumatics difficult. I think what I need to do is I need to buy like I would buy 5 of those. and put 3 in a safe. Come on. Well, now it's stuck. US isn't much better, to be honest. It depends on where you live. For instance, there are no real shops near where I live that sell fountain pens, much less the vintage variety. You have to look online. Yeah, I mean, it's a problem. I mean, I'll be the first to tell you, it is not cheap. It is not cheap to run a shop. You know, and you have to, you know, you've got to sell modern stuff in order to really to pay for the vintage and to keep the money coming. Lots of shops in the UK are now just fronts for crime. Something in there? What the hell's going on here? Yeah, so when I hear people kind of complain about there not being pen stores. I just like, I just roll my eyes. If you get one, if you have one, you have to support it. Okay, that seems a little better. I think I'm still going to need a new collet. I think I'm going to get one just to have one. You might see them at local flea shop or garage sales. I mean, they're still there. What you have to remember is the real heyday for pen collecting came in about the 1980s. And so you've got, let you know if he's in Ohio on the tool. Yeah, I'll let you know. I wonder. No, I need a tap or something to. Yeah, I'm gonna send him an email. I think I've got one thread that's slightly wonky, but it's better now. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, we're gonna send him a text right now. See if he replies back. It autocorrects collet to fillet. Yeah, I haven't seen him selling them for a while. Yeah, well, I just sent him a text. He does better at text for me than an email. I can feel it about halfway down, but boy, I sure can't see it in the threads. Did anybody see what the what Pen Realm is doing for a special for the Ohio show coming up this next weekend? They're making a special nib. I'm I'm on the fence whether or not um I need to have one or not. Because Ohio is one of the, what is it, like 3 states that have um the cardinal as their state bird. So he's making a special nib for this year uh that has a cardinal, and then 2025 on the nib. Yeah, I kind of need it. I'm afraid to know what the price is though. You know, because the way my head works is like, okay, it's gonna probably be 35, $40. But I would probably be better off spending that on parts. It's a must have. You guys are gonna make me buy this thing, aren't you? He did say it's a cost of a decent unrestored pen. It is, right, exactly. Which then I can sell and make money. And what am I going to put that nib in? Stop. You have to buy it. You guys. I saw it this morning and I kind of freaked out because I thought for a second that they were advertising. Get one for Lisa as a gift. She just got a Pelican M320. I don't know that she has. I guess I could put it in one of her Edison. I think she might have an Edison left. Oh, we sold most of her Edisons. I had to buy her a pen to put it in. When I saw the ad, I thought to myself, all right, I'll add it to my list. I'll contact them. Yeah, I don't know if she's going to keep it though. It has a fine nib, but as you know, Pelican nibs are a little fat, and it might be too fat for her. I think if I did the nib, I'd probably do it in a broad, maybe a nice chunky broad. I have to buy it. But I saw the ad and they got like a little cardinal. I said, what is this? Is the Ohio Pen Show advertising me? I don't have a table or anything there. And here was Pen Realm. Well, okay. I'll see how much it is. Speaking of ads, Twitch just gave me one for multi-million-dollar properties that are for sale. Does Twitch think I'm made of money? That's funny. I'm gonna clean up this cap here before I. This one we can put the cap back together. So the other one we're gonna have to dig through my parts bin to see if I've got a jewel for it. Well, they probably think if you're watching a video on fountain pens, like none of us need these. Almost none of us need these. You probably got money to burn. Yeah, I don't spend too much. I usually don't spend too much on myself at pen shows, but maybe I'll get that nib. I think it's only, I want to say it's only in steel. It's not in plated steel or anything like that. So I guess I could put it in a Twisby too. Do I routinely dismantle caps to clean during service? No. Almost never. There are exceptions. Good afternoon, Vlad. Um, um, dual folds. I usually take them apart because they just unscrew, and it's a washer clip, so it's not a big deal. The reason I took this one apart is because the clip was loose and spinning freely, and I could see that the jewel, was raised up a little bit. It wasn't screwed all the way in, which just gives me concern that it's going to go together that way. But there was a pretty solid chance that it was not going to be completely difficult to disassemble. And not worth the hassle. Yeah, I mean it's especially when you're talking 51s and vacuumatics. The only reason you should be dismantling the cap is if you're going to remove dents, or if the clip is loose and you have to take that jewel and the bushing out. It is not necessary to dismantle this cap. Worst case scenario, maybe you need an inner cap or something like that. But taking clips apart and all that stuff is, dual folds or any pen with a washer clip with an inner cap like that, like a dual fold, piece of cake, very easy. You might as well. But the rest of them, no way. But I'm just not going to send this back with a clip that's spinning around like a Price is Right wheel. It's extra work. It's a lot of extra work, but and this one came the same way. The clip was spinning, and there was no jewel, so it was easy to take apart because the jewel was already gone. But we have the screw. Clutch? You mean clutches? Like clutches in a cap? Like on a 51? Yeah, you need. I mean, there's no reason to take that apart unless you're taking dents out. Yeah, yeah, no. Actually, it's not that hard. The hardest part is taking that jewel off. If you can get the jewel off, it's a piece of cake. Now, like we mentioned, what was it, last week or earlier this week? Last week. I mean, to do it right, you need about $300-400 in tools. And if you have the inner cap extractor, and the clutch extractor, it comes out nice and easy. Piece of cake. But unless it's malfunctioning, you don't need to do it. Did I hear that you want to burn your pen? Stepped away for a second. Burn your pen. Did I say that? I disassemble what needs to be disassembled and pretty much stop at that. Are there current day individuals who produce such tools, or is it the same process of seeking them out? Well, most of the people who make the tools are not getting any. Well, I mean, none of us are getting any younger, right? Um, are getting up there in age. So it becomes a process of trying to find the tools now because they're not cheap to make. You know, the whole 51 dent removal and you know and clutch removal tool is expensive. It's a whole bunch of stuff. I got to believe that when Stuart Hawkinson started making them, they weren't. I bet he didn't make much money. You know, there's not much money in that. Or if he and I don't know if he made them himself or he had other people make them, but if he made them himself, it was a lot of time. Am I teaching Lindsay pen repair? No, I'm not. I don't know that that's something that she would want to do. Right now, I don't want to put that pressure on her. I mean, I could conceivably, and just as you say that, she texts me. I could conceivably repair pens for a long time. Well, after I had, you know, maybe passed this on. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know that's an area of interest for her. This business could entirely evolve into something different, which I realize doesn't make it the same thing, but trusted modern retailers are few and far between. And her strengths are in different areas. If it ain't broke, don't mend it. Yeah, kind of. You have to be able to assess what's working and what's not. You know, because the minute it's just like with modern pens. The minute you disassemble something, what that noise was, you disassemble something for the sake of trying to get it perfectly clean. You know, and you break something, then you're not ahead of the game anymore. You know, in some cases you're no longer able to restore the pen because what you broke is not fixable, or you've lost value. I mean, I have a pen right now that I'm considering selling, but I don't know that I want to even attempt to repair it. It's not something anybody should use. It's, in its condition, it's rather exceptional. And I don't think, and Hans, you know which pen this is. I don't think that restoring it is actually going to add any value to the price of the pen. You're not brave enough to try if you owned it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think it would. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Hans, but I don't think that this particular pen I'm discussing, I don't want to say what it is. I don't think there's any added value of it being a functional writing instrument. It's not exceptionally rare, but in its condition, I mean, if it breaks opening up, that's one less there is. And one crack in that particular pen drops the value of the price by at least 40%, I would say. Some people would use it and they would be wrong. Yeah. Yeah, the same as value is the same regardless of operating condition. Yeah. So many pen people get so upset about pens not in use. Yeah. Well, I mean, you know what I think some of it is? And this is gonna get to a spicy conversation here pretty soon. Is there are some people they will be furious with Brian and I, that's for sure. That's the truth, man. Speak, brother. Hot take. You know what I think it is I think there are people that they can't comprehend not using a pen because they can't comprehend what some may conceive as waste. Um, or just plain exuberance. Well, why do you have X number of pens? 500, 1,000, 5,000. I mean, I know people who have 10,000 pens. Of course, they're not going to use them all. And I think some people don't. They think that's wrong, and that you shouldn't own that many because they can't own that many. How do you use your art collection on the wall? Everyone should just be calm with their own criteria. Exactly. Yeah. To some degree. And I realize that it's almost a little hypocritical to say, well, people should be calm with their own criteria and then say, well, you're wrong if you want to use a mint Mandarin dual fold senior. But, the minute you crack it, the minute you break it, there's one less. Uh-oh. I think I've been summoned. Hang on. I may have to step away for a minute here. Yeah, if you want something, you can do whatever you want as long as it's legal. Right. And I know that's what people say about, I'm going to buy a pen with stickers in it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to rip the stickers off. Okay. What I don't understand is Legal is the operative word now. Yeah. What I don't understand is, why are you paying a premium to devalue it instantly when you can pay less and buy the same pen that has already been previously inked? Because the only difference is that first ink, right? The first time you've inked it, you're the first person to ink it. Well, the second time you ink it, it's exactly the same as a used pen. I mean, do what you want, but um, yeah, they can remove the stickers and destroy a piece of history. Go for it, but rest assured they won't be buying anything interesting from me. Yeah, and it doesn't happen often, but if someone, if I were to know that I had a particularly rare piece, and someone was going to, rip the stickers off and ink it up and do all that kind of jazz, I wouldn't sell it to them. I'm not, they go find another one. You're not buying it from me. You know, if someone openly says, "Oh, I'm going to take a Mandarin Senior Dual Fold or a Red Hard Rubber Bandless Dual Fold Senior," and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to post it because I can post it, and damn it, it's my pen. Yeah, well, guess what? You're not going to get it from me because the minute you post it, it's going to crack. I don't know. Maybe it's not really a hot take. Maybe it's just a. But I think sometimes people that they don't want other people to have more pens than they do. I'm going to take a short break here. I got to pour Lisa some coffee, and apparently I have to deliver it to her. We had a very brief discussion at lunch that maybe it is as simple as that. Yeah, maybe it is. If I can't have it, you shouldn't either. So we had a brief discussion at lunch about making coffee, and I was under the understanding she was going to come over. I mean, it's not like this is new that she, I stream for 3 hours every day, 4 days a week. So, but she has sent me 2 texts now. First one was coffee ? And then the second one was no coffee ? So I'm going to step away for just a minute, probably 2 minutes, and I'll be right back. All right, hang in there. All right. You think a good modern example is a Retro 51 Tornado fountain pen. You love the pen, and I think people should at least give them a look. They have a serious flaw in that the converter can easily come loose with not a lot of movement. It's a toss-up between wanting to use it and not wanting to have ink in the barrel. Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because I actually have a Retro 51 Tornado fountain pen that I'm putting on the website probably tomorrow, today or tomorrow. All right. All right. So some of the blue is out of the diamond here. You think I might have to get that rollerball converter kit they have, so at least I can still use a pen with the door. Interesting, yeah. I forgot that they have that. How are the cats? The cats are good. My big guy, he's no end. There's no end of him trying to take over the whole bed at night, so that's kind of. But at least there's no Max. Yeah, that's Max. Yeah, he's our what do we call him? He's our chief happiness officer or something. I forget what. At least I gave him a title. He's the chief happiness officer. So he's doing all right. He sure doesn't like me being gone though. All right, let's at least assemble this cap. I think we're good to go. It's about as good as it's going to get. Seiko's the other. That's correct. Yep. Yeah, she's as much of a chatty Cathy as always. And she didn't used to, whoops, like that's not right. She didn't used to talk so much until we moved into the new place. And then all of a sudden she is never shuts up. So key question is, the chief happiness officer outrank you in the corporate hierarchy? I don't know. If he ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So there is that. I need to get a new straw here pretty soon. This one's been heated and melted and. All right, so that's not moving. No shop cat. We talked about it. But one or both of them, and we're not really sure which one, does have a tendency to chew on cords. And this is a cord chewing free zone here. Especially when they like, I've had to redo my overhead light twice. Yeah, they don't actually knock things over. I mean, they mostly, I mean, they're cats. They mostly sleep most of the time, but they do like to. They like to chew on stuff when they're not happy. All right, that is way better than it was before. So the jewel actually was not seated fully. And the clip was so loose. All right, so at least that one's good. Cats are plotting to take over the world. Haven't you seen the cartoons? Yeah. It would be nice to have a little cat here, but neither of them are as tame as I would want a shop cat to be. Max is glaring at you right now in sticker form. Earth can't be flat because cats would have knocked everything off of it. Yeah, my cats, they don't. I don't know what it is. I mean, I know they say you can't train cats, but I've never had a cat that really consistently jumped on counters. And I don't know if it's just because I don't put up with that nonsense. When they jump on something they're not supposed to be, they're not supposed to be jumping on, then they know right away. But yeah, they would be all over the counters and chewing on the shipping materials, and I mean, it would not be. It would not be a pretty thing. Yours don't either. I remember going to Pandemonium back in the day in Fort Madison, and their cat used to roam the store. It was, I think when I came, it was what did they have? They had a Greasehaber. Yeah, no car. Yeah, they would be. I mean, that might be the thing, right? No cardboard box left unmolested. We got a lot of cardboard boxes here. Let me tell you, especially after this last weekend. Um, but I think when we came, I think Sam and Frank used to have a. Was it a Greasehaber? Was that what it was? A Greasehaber display? I mean, it was stupid rare. And I walk in, and their cat, Jessie, I think is the name. It was the name of their cat. Was sitting on top of the display. I might even have pictures of that trip. That was the week we went the weekend the Schaefer Museum opened up. Lisa and I got up early in the morning. We drove whatever it was, 6 hours or something to get down there, and took the tour. Went to Pandemonium. They were offering tours of like Walter Schaefer's home, or they weren't tours of the home, but they were kind of like drive-bys. Yeah, guarding the display. Yeah, yeah. Um, and there was a cemetery tour, and I'm like, I don't need to see that. It's, it was 7 hours to get there. I'll go home. So we stayed in town for a little bit. As I recall, it was very cold. Silver Owl Leatherworks. Hello. How goes it today? Good. Trying to finish this stuff up so I can get it out the door before I leave for Ohio. I'll feel better once I'm in the car. You know, and then the first thing you do when you get in the car and you wake up, you go through your head. Okay, now did I forget anything? And once you've gone through the list of all the things that you think you might have forgotten, and you realize you haven't forgotten anything, then you kind of settle in. And it's supposed to be a nice weekend. Highs in the 50s. I drive safe. Yeah, thanks. I so wish that the vet hadn't just pooped out on me the other day. It would have been a great weekend for the vet. Gonna be real with you. I never once thought about repairing a pen. Well, if you want a vintage, they pretty much have to. And that's what these all are, is they're 80, 90, 100-year-old pens. Commemorative Schaefer set from 95. You're really on the fence about buying it. It's an engraved gold lever filler. Yeah, you could just send them to me. Um, yeah, I think I know which pen you're talking about. The mid 90s stuff. Yeah, the only problem is like some of them were very prone to breakage. Um, like the Levenger editions. The material was just a little bit thin on some of those balance. Great patterns though. You prepared extra books and actually you learn a lot and it's fascinating. Yeah, it is. It is fascinating. All right, I think we got this. How do you size diaphragms for vacuumatic fillers? Whatever this measurement is, one, and you can't see it on here, can you? Let me move this so you can see it. So I have a measurement on, I think this is 1 1/16 of an inch. I think that's what that is. Um, you consult. I didn't actually write it down. But I marked it, and that's what I use. One, yeah, that looks like about 1 1/16 of an inch. With the 1995 pen, you don't want to remove the section. The lever filler. Now that and Targas with the cracked barrels all the time. Choosing the right size diaphragm. Oh, choosing the right size diaphragms. You very rarely need oversize. I can count on one hand the number of times I've used an oversized diaphragm and I still have 2 fingers left. Okay. And you know when you need an oversize because you paid a boatload of money for the pen. Most of the time you're going to use a Deb or a 51 size, the smaller of the 3 sizes, a Deb or 51 size diaphragm. When you get to the larger 3-band standards, double jewel standards, then you can use the larger. But if you've got a major, which is the majority of the vacs that you're going to find, or a Deb, or a junior, or a 51, you use the smallest size, the Deb 51 size. I very rarely, and even on the larger vacs that aren't oversized, if you use, where you might use the standard, if you incorrectly guess and you use the Deb or 51, it doesn't really matter. You're gonna have to push it maybe a couple more times, and it'll still work. All right, I need to find a jewel. Which I may or may not have. And yes, it is on my Ohio Pen Show list. Gotta go. Hey, it's always a joy, Brian. Thank you for a wonderful stream. Have fun. I will, absolutely. Thanks for tuning in. Do appreciate it. Wow, this is going to be this customer's lucky day. Yeah, when I see people buy like a half a dozen oversized diaphragms, I'm like, lucky you. I mean, I don't do it anymore, but I used to reach out to people like, are you sure that's what you need? But I also don't buy them. So, I live in Wisconsin. I don't run across them in the wild hardly ever. But it's not a pen I would normally collect either, so I'm not buying them on eBay. My phone is ringing. I wonder who that could be. Nothing good, that's for sure. All right. That's really great. Um, Everyone thinks they can just shine them with wax, call them rare, and charge silly money. Um, I actually can't believe I had that jewel. So, um, well, the good part is what I didn't tell you is the screw that was in there. The jewel didn't fit the original screw, so I just in this one happened to be in a screw, or I guess it's the bushing, is what it is. The part that you screw in is actually called the bushing, and the jewel is actually called the clip screw. Um, so I just replaced it as a unit because it's the same outside diameter that fits inside the cap. It's just that the jewels come in different diameter. The clip screws come in different diameters. So that is good to go. I probably should make a note that I charge them for the jewel. Modern Parkers fresh out of the blister pack. Rare collector's piece. Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got here. Now, this has been soaking for quite a while. You can see there's still some ink in there. But we've got a little bit better transparency now. You can see the weight. Usually there's a notch in it, but usually they're easier than this. The lever on that balance operates a captive converter. I'm going to put it back in the ultrasonic, I guess. Yeah, yeah, that 95 Schaefer, yeah. What I need is another bulb syringe. Are Parker 180s any good? Yeah, they're not bad. Don't be fooled by the the Parker Classic that looks like a 180. Has a gold-plated nib. It's not quite the same animal. You never had one apart, but you remember Sam telling you not to take it apart. Well, if Sam said don't take it apart. Yeah, beware of imitations. Yeah, I mean, you know the classic with the nib that looks like the 180 is not a bad pen. It's inexpensive, but yeah, they're a bit slim. I know. I keep telling people you got to have multiple bulb syringes, and here I sit with two, because I very rarely need one that's larger size than this. And as cheap as I am, I won't even walk over and pick one out of the bin because I can see them from here. You lost the only bulb syringe you had. You don't know where it went. It was sitting on the kitchen counter one day, then poof. Yeah. I wonder if somebody just like tossed it in the garbage or something. See, I can get this over. It was a little bit of a hassle, but yeah, the Parker 180s, they're a special time in Parker history. They made some cool pens in those days. Sometimes I like to hang on to it if I'm putting a lot of force on it because what you don't want is you don't want this to spit off and then end up. You didn't even think to stick a few in your cart for your last order? Did I ship it yet? If I didn't ship it, just you can I'll combine it with for you. It's a recurring theme with you. You always forget the bulb syringe. Boy, this just looks, there's something not right here. I don't know if it's just jammed up with ink or if it's bent, it absolutely will not move. Well, let's try a little more heat, I guess. There we go. And they usually have a ton of threads. We'll finish cleaning that out later. Oh, that's going to be a problem. All right, so this is why it wasn't moving. And this is why you have to be very careful when you restore these. That should not be bent like that. That should be straight. So fixing this is going to be a problem. There's a high probability that this might break. If it doesn't break, it has to be perfectly straight because you're dealing with that opening. Like you can't even see it. Or it won't drop. So I'm not even going to worry about this nonsense going on here. Um, we can clean that up. But my experience has shown that these are very difficult to get straight. Let's So it likes to spin around here in this stupid thing. Yeah, there's a drop needle. And it's bent twice. Yeah, so I was afraid it was going to happen. So that needle broke because you just can't bend it. Which means I got to find a part for it. Which isn't the hardest thing in the world. But I'm probably not going to look for it now. I figured it was going to break. There's the rest of it. So I could just replace the needle. Um, but there was no way that was going to work because it wasn't dropping into the slot right. Just going to clean up this weight a little bit. I may or may not be able to use it. Depending on what parts I have available. So, all right. Let's see. I knew what gauge wire and stiffness you could just measure these bits and then shove something in there, but forfeit. I'm gonna look for a part. Hang on. I know I've got an Inkograph or two in here somewhere. Whether or not they're actually stylographs or not is another question altogether. Because Inkograph didn't actually make fountain pens. And I sort of sorted through a bunch of these pens a couple weeks ago. And I do remember seeing Inkographs. What was this? Look at this little thing. Oh, look at that. Hang on. I know. I'm easily distracted. But I've never actually looked at this before. And I don't remember even having it. So let's see. So there is a piece of lead in there. So this is a pencil made in Germany. Goes back. And then you can... What a stupid little thing that is. Kind of a clutch. I think that's all the way at the end of it. Isn't that something? I don't know where I got that. What else is in here? Oh, back in the bag it goes. It's not solving my problem for today. All right, there's another. Solid gold. X pencil? No. Apparently I separated everything in this bag for some reason. Superite and nickel. What is this ugly looking thing here? Lamy Safari before Lamy even knew they had to have a clip like this. Look at that. Waterman 18 in the next bag. Wow, now this is cool. Wait a minute. One of these is going to be boring. I don't know what this is. This says, look at this. That's kind of interesting. It says the handy. The handy. The handy. Fabrication Swiss. I'll be damned if it doesn't work. Oh, look at this little top. Got my initials, BA, on there. Maybe I should take that to the show. That gotta be worth something, huh? Conversation at least. NC double argent. Yeah, we're gonna set this aside for John. What else we got? We got this guy. I am obviously not finding my. Didn't put it in my pocket since I got my initials. It works. Apparently I can see it work. Smooth operating mechanism. I'll make it the icebreaker for hitting them up for the other stuff. That should actually go in my Eversharp bin. All right, so there's no Inkographs that I can see right off the top of the bat here. All right. Anybody have one of these? A right point with the bowling pin on the top? Okay, this is not This is not the bin. Got to be in this bin. I know I've got like two. If I can't find it here, then, well. Yeah, I don't know. Another bucket I forgot about. Usually it helps that they're marked on the lever. There's one. Please not be a fountain pen. That's a little better. Drop part of it on the ground. Yeah, see this one, it's bent, but see y'all later. Have a good day. Yeah, thanks for just tuning in. It's bent, but it might still be good. I mean, we might be able to straighten that one. Sorry, no, this is not particularly stunning viewing today while I sort through parts, but that's kind of what you got to do sometimes. Oh, here's one. Ah, I knew it. That goes in the Eversharp bag. Here's a whole bag of them. Or there's a couple in this bag. Oh, there's nothing in that. There we go. There's a potential donor. Probably why I have so many of these with no sections, because they just swap them out all the time. There's another possibility. All right, so these are no good. Ooh, that one's much better. Provided we can get it out. Ah, kind of a disaster. This one is all bent to crap. Now I can't get it back in the stinking hole. Well, so we got two options. This one is reasonably straight. I think I'm going to clean that out too. This one is much straighter, but it's split. So I wonder if this... A little bit different style on this, but I'm hoping it will fit. So I'm sure what happened is somebody took it apart, tried to put it back together, and they forced it in. Just out of curiosity, let's see if this fits. No, it doesn't fit. This needle doesn't want to fit through this hole. I can't tell if there's something jammed in there or what the deal is. Because it fits in there, but this is not the right threading. So that fits, but because it's not perfectly straight, it catches up. And there's it's not perfectly straight. Now there's a little room for tolerance here. Because when you pull it back this way, this should drop down. but it doesn't because it's bent. Well, that's a better fit. Except it screws way, way down. Yeah, I don't think it's going to work. Okay. That works. This is probably too warped to use. This is why these suck. Yeah, that's too small. Which one was that? This one? Apparently that doesn't fit anything anymore. That's the original. All right, so I can see what you typically happens here is you just end up replacing the whole front section because you've got different diameter threads on this part and possibly different diameter needles. So I may have to, against my better judgment, either not repair this or there's almost no way to know which Inkograph's going to have the right size threading. Well, it's getting close to 5, isn't it? Oh, So we're gonna. I think we're gonna. I might just email the client and ask him what he wants to do, because it's gonna be a lot of. If I had the part, it'd be one thing, but I don't. So it's probably gonna be. Then you got to buy the whole pen to do it, and you don't know if the needle's gonna be straight. So I don't want to buy 3 pens to find out 2 or 3 of them don't have the right needle or the right, because you could buy a section and then just replace the whole thing. But yeah, that needle was doomed from the beginning. So, lesson learned for those of you watching. Inkographs are cool, but the needle has to drop freely after you clean it. If it doesn't and it's bent, you're SOL. I could try to put it in a vise and see if I can get that just a little bit more straight. It comes out the right amount, but all right. It's about 10 to 5. Let's take a look at what we got. So we can test these and seal these up tomorrow, and that may be what we do with that. Really don't feel like getting into it today. We got these 4 pens we still have to test. VS should be fun, and then we got a couple of these that we can probably test and get moving too. So these and a couple in here. So I think I'm gonna call it a day. And hey, at least we found a cool Swiss pencil. I'm going to call it a day, and I'm going to move on. I got to try to get some packages out. Get those packaged up so I don't have as much stuff to do tomorrow. And we'll see about tomorrow. I should be able to still have a stream tomorrow, but just kind of keep an eye out. I'll try to make the live notification as early as possible. Yeah, have a good night, Hans. Thanks. If I decide not to do it, but as of right now, I think I can. I have to set my mind to getting the stuff done. What needs to be done, I just need to put my head down and do it. So I'm going to start doing that now. So tomorrow is a little less chaotic, and we'll go from there. So let's go here. So thanks for tuning in, everyone, and I will do it again tomorrow. Have a great evening, a great afternoon, a great morning, wherever you are in the world. Be kind, be well, and we'll hopefully catch you tomorrow, all right? Take care, everyone. Have a good night. Bye now.